Testing, testing. What's up, Veronica? What's up, everybody? Welcome to the live. Adrian. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, so this is we're gonna be talking about, pretty much what we talked about yesterday. And honestly, I might keep this as a topic and I might keep this going all the way up until, you know, whatever happens, happens here in Chicago. The National Guards are supposed to, evidently, they're supposed to be coming. Um, you know, Unfortunately, no matter what the mayor tries to do, to my understanding, they're still going to be coming. So I'm just going to be keeping these topics going, and I'm just going to really be telling y'all what it really is and what the whole agenda really is. And like I said yesterday, the whole entire agenda is to normalize crime. And it should never be normal. Crime should never be normal. It should never be a normal thing. To say, oh, the crime rate is low here in the city of Chicago is diabolical because there's bodies dropping on a daily out here, okay? Let's be honest. Every hour on the hour, every minute, second of the day, there's a death every day here in this city, in Chicago. But why is it that when you go outside of this neighborhood to a whole nother city, there is no crime? There is no crime. There's not, you don't see bodies dropping on the daily, up in Skokie. You don't see bodies dropping on a daily out there up in Bolingbrook, especially from gun violence. You don't see that. You see it here in Chicago. Any weird negative comments will be blocked and removed. Stay on topic. We do not need to be distracted from the truth. Honestly, the truth is they're trying to normalize crime. And nobody's paying attention to that. Because meanwhile, while everybody is extremely worried about the National Guards coming out here, and while everybody is worried about, Mayor Brandon Johnson and his take on it, and the governor of Illinois' take on it, and then they're worried about what Trump is doing and stuff like that, which is abusing his power, evidently. Um, Everybody's so busy just worried all about that. But they're not seeing a bigger picture. The bigger picture is they're trying to normalize crime. Make it make sense. Because you're saying, basically in all words, yeah, there's crime, of course. Yeah, there's killings and shootings, yeah, all the time. Murder rates, yeah. It goes up and down. It's perfectly normal. But last year there was more crime than this year. So, I mean, how is that having any compassion in your heart for the deaths that has happened in your city, bro? How do you even have compassion in your heart for the murders and the gun violence that goes on in your city? You just trying to normalize the fact that, oh, it happens. What the fuck? You don't see the mayor of Orland Park or Tinley Park saying this, do you? Come on now. When crime happens in a city, they get it out. They get it out. Most importantly, these neighborhoods and these suburban communities are, wealthy folks that live in these areas and stuff like that. And honestly, they do have some parts of their city where you got the low income people, but any ruckus in their neighborhoods, in their community, they getting it out. So why is it that crime is normalized in Chicago? Why is the city of Chicago normalizing crime? You want to know something too? You want to know what I realized? Shout out to the live shout out to my husband in the live stream. Yeah, make sure y'all stand on topic. Um I don't care what nobody say. This shit should not be normal. And you know what? On some real stuff, because I don't want to seem like a hypocrite or anything. So I just want to say this. I started to come to the realization that actually they are trying to normalize crime. And honestly, I was today years old or yesterday years old when I finally came to the realization that hold on. They trying to normalize crime. And you know what? We normalized it. Being Chicago citizens, we have normalized crime. We say, oh yeah, Chicago, high crime rate. You live in Louisiana, oh yeah, Louisiana, yeah, high crime rate. At the end of the day, crime should not be normalized at all. It should not be okay for somebody to lose their life behind gun violence. It should not be okay. Violence is not the answer. It should not be okay. And we literally don't even understand that we're normalizing it. Y'all don't even see that it has got to the point where the elderly folks went from saying that, they don't like crime in their neighborhoods and they hate that they gotta hear gunshots and stuff like that. Elderly folks that went to from calling the police to agreeing with the mayor, agreeing that the crime rate has went down or there is no crime. Make that make sense. And most importantly too, most importantly, if there is a problem in Chicago and everybody knows about it, evidently it needs to be addressed. The problem is the crime. That's the problem. The problem is the horrible parenting. The problem is it's the people. Let's be honest. So instead of allowing repeat offenders to get out of jail, why are you not keeping them there? Make that make sense. Why are you just letting them, releasing them back into the wild? Make that make sense. So that they can do more crime. If you commit a crime in Evergreen Park, or if you commit a crime in Des Plaines, Illinois, I can almost bet you're going to remain locked up. Because they don't play. These other cities, they don't play. They going to lock your ass up and you're going to be sitting in there. You ain't getting out. That's why people know that when you commit a crime in these other cities, you already know you're finna be locked up for some time. But when you commit a crime in Chicago, you get locked up for one day and you get released. Come on, make it make sense. They're releasing the criminals back onto the streets. It's like a silent purge, honestly. It's like a silent purge. They just out here deleting people and then making it seem like it's okay. Yeah, the crime rate is low. There is no crime. You said, as people, the first thing people say is it's a hood everywhere. you know, I mean, and that's another thing. People be like, oh, it's hoods everywhere. Like I said, we've been normalizing this too. Real talk. We didn't got to a point where we were normalizing it too. But honestly, I came to the realization that, wait a minute, this is what they're really trying to do. They're trying to normalize crime. They want everybody to think that it's okay to commit a crime. They want everybody to think that it's okay for crime to happen in big cities. It's gonna happen. But it's the fact that y'all normalizing it. It's the fact that they're able to lie to the public and everybody believe it. Even though they know that Chicago is a horrible city. It's a lot of crime that goes on here. Even though they know that, they still believe that it's I can't honestly, as much as I say make it make sense, I can't even make it make sense. Like, this is just diabolical. Like, we live in an ass backwards ass world. People is just, I don't know. I don't know. It's like people are not there anymore. The environment that they created. What's up, Galaxy? Exactly. You said, for example, they have one grocery store in a war zone, so all the people involved risk their life to get goods. Also, the fact you can smell death tells it all. Yeah, yeah. Um, See, let me tell y'all something, right? You can't even make this up. You can't make this up. When when you go in Chicago's urban communities, right? There is one grocery store. One grocery store. That's it. And this grocery store can be 5 to what is it? I would say driving in a car, depending on how far you live from that grocery store, especially if it's in your distance, in your area, close by your area, you're going to be driving probably 7 to 10 minutes, maybe even 15, 20 minutes to get to the grocery store. We have had to go to grocery stores outside of our neighborhoods, and we have to travel at least 45 minutes to get there. Okay? All right? Now, if this grocery store is very convenient and it's walking distance, it's going to take you maybe 10 minutes tops to walk there to the grocery store. You might be right across the street from it, but it's the fact that it's one grocery store. And this grocery store can be at least 10 to 15 minutes at the most away from you. But that's the one that you need to get to. And unfortunately, that happens to be the most dangerous neighborhood, the most dangerous area for the grocery store to be in. Now you walking in there, you know what I'm saying? And everybody in there just messed up in the minds. We talking in urban communities. So you know what that brings? That brings chaos. Cause it's only one grocery store. It's like it's not like it's a lot more to choose from. Because this is what they do. This is what they do. But where I'm getting at is when you go to the suburban areas, I promise you, on everything I love, there's so many different grocery stores to choose from. You go to Alsa, Illinois, there is literally like 4, 5 grocery stores right there, right across the street from each other. You got Food for Less, Jules, Osco, Aldi's, literally right across the street from each other. So you got so many different grocery stores to choose from. But you go into urban communities and there's one big grocery store, maybe even two. And you got the whole hood in there. A disaster. And then it's like people, y'all know what's crazy, especially if you're on public transportation. You have to risk your life at this moment to get groceries for you and your family because you have to go to a convenient enough store because you are on public transportation versus if you were driving. If you was driving, you would be able to go a far distance outside of your neighborhood to go on and get you some groceries if you want to. But see, the problem is a lot of people that live in a hood, they don't want to get out the hood. They don't want to do nothing outside of their hoods, outside of their neighborhoods, because they feel like they will be less savage. They feel like they will be less of a savage if they decide to do what's right, which is, if you don't want to put yourself in a position where you got to keep looking over your shoulder every chance you get out of your neighborhood. But they don't want to do that because people just, they live in the city and they just feel like they got to be savages. But they don't even realize that they look like a bunch of wild animals for real. And then, this is what amazes me. These ninjas be out here talking about the jungle, right? You live in a jungle, but you don't want a white person calling you a monkey because they racist. I mean, but you just admitted that you in the jungle. You live in a jungle. These little YNs be out here talking about Chirac. Yeah, but you would be damned if you have to go fight in Iraq, right? That's my thing. Hi. Huh? That's my daughter, y'all. She funny as ever. But I mean the ass backwards world that we live in. You can call it Chirac, but you will never join the army though. You will never join the army. You would be mad if they snatched your ass up and rounded you up and made you join the army. But what you gonna be mad about? I mean, you just called it Chirac. They used to really call it Chirac Drillinois, y'all. Chirac Drillinois. This, I mean, man. See, the thing is, they have normalized crime a long time ago. They normalized crime a long time ago. Especially when they introduced drill music, that's when they really normalized crime for the younger generation. But it got to a point now where they normalize crime and the whole world is in agreement. And it ain't just drill music. It's politics. Everybody done joined on in. You might as well you might as well go ahead and support drill music then. If you can normalize crime going on here, go ahead and support drill music because it's not normal. Real talk. Exactly. In the hood, you got JJ Fish, liquor stores, churches, police stations, and of course, the drug. You said the drug? Who? Oh, drug dealers. Right on the corner shooting dice. You cannot make this up. There's this, okay. Anybody from Chicago might know exactly what area I'm talking about. I think this, what street, what is that? That's, what is that? 63rd? Facts, facts. Okay. I'm not even gonna say. So it's on the south side of Chicago, bro. You got a doggone police station, a fast food restaurant right there on the corner, a liquor store right there on the corner, a church right across the street, and you cannot forget there's a daycare center right there as well. And then you got YNs and big YNs on the corner shooting dice, literally right across the street from the police station. You can't tell me they're not funding the police. Real talk. Because that's exactly what goes on. In order for the police to keep their mouth shut, they gotta be funded. That gang them. Come on now. Chicago is a very corrupt city. It is very corrupt. It's a lot of like hush hush under the table things going on. And I get it. It goes on elsewhere as well, but that's not normal. That's the thing. They want us to normalize everything wrong. That's not normal. They're not supposed to be doing it. You know, we're supposed to be having good politicians. We're supposed to have, good police officers, good uh first responders. It shouldn't even be no corruption. It shouldn't even be no questions asked. It is not normal. And I'm gonna keep saying it because when I travel outside of my city and I go to other cities, I see the community. Everybody loves each other. They got nice, healthy restaurants. Smoothie King. You know, they got all these healthy. They got places for vegetarians. They got all these nice grocery stores. Their community is well kept. The police officers ain't out harassing you. They not harassing the community. They not just pulling over anybody for any little thing. You don't have a corrupt politician in their city. They got good schools. They got nice churches. I mean, my whole point is it look nice when you go out in these other cities outside of Chicago. And it got great upkeep. And when they're tearing up the streets and doing construction work, they make it nice and smooth, and they make it, you know, as to where there is no potholes. You know, they streets look nice. It's wide. It's nice. But you come here to Chicago, all you see is trees down in the streets, garbage on the ground, rats everywhere. You got potholes. And don't give me that bullshit that, oh, it's just a city. It's a big city, so of course it's gonna have those things. No, it's not fucking normal. That's the thing. It's not supposed to be normalized. Just because it's a big city and it has a lot of different communities and a lot of different people. Well, first and foremost, Chicago is extremely segregated. What the hell they gonna do about that? We talking about a damn mayor that sat here and gave all of the money that we needed for this city to Venezuelans. Him and the damn governor. And guess what? I mean, y'all gave them to people from another country that came here to search for the same thing that Chicago citizens are searching for, which is housing, which is assistance overall. But y'all decided to take all of that money and all of that and give it straight to them, and they got everything. When I tell you these people was off the streets in like 2 months, they came out here, and when I tell you they flooded the streets, the city of Chicago, and they was just like spread it out, and they was just like all out here begging for money, all of that. You don't see none of that going on no more. You want to know why? Because they good, bro. They got housing, they got cars, they got all the assistance that they needed. The same exact thing that the Chicago residents needed for a long time. That's how you know they play in our faces like that. They play in our faces like that. But y'all are sitting here in unison agreeing with this corrupt ass corrupt ass politician, this corrupt, let me say it right, this corrupt ass mayor and this corrupt ass governor. Y'all are sitting here agreeing with everything that they saying, but y'all wasn't agreeing with what they was doing last year. Am I incorrect? Y'all wasn't y'all wasn't there agreeing. But now everybody is only in agreement because everybody dislikes Trump, his policies, which, as me too, I do too. But I'm not gonna agree with what the mayor and the governor is trying to make normal. I'm not in agreement with that. I am also not in agreement with y'all have failed this damn city. Real talk. Because you're not doing what you're supposed to do to clean up the crime here. You should take notes from these other mayors in these other cities. Take note. It ain't rocket science either. It's not normal. Don't come in here talking about, you from Compton, California, or you from whatever. I don't know, man. Y'all know I ain't look good with these damn cities. Don't come in here talking about you from Detroit, and it's a lot of crime that goes on up in Detroit, and it's a lot of crime, and it's perfectly normal for it to be crime because it's a city. Like, don't give me that. Because you got to sit and you got to ask yourself, when you travel outside of your city to other nice areas, do you see crime going on there? And if there was crime going on there all of a sudden, wouldn't you be like, whoa, what's going on? It wouldn't be normal to you, right? If you if we was to go, matter of fact, take it like this. If we was to turn on the news, and for the last 3 days, back to back to back, we have been seeing criminal activity going on in a nice suburban neighborhood. We're going to literally be Hold on, y'all. If we turn on the news and we see a nice suburban community all of a sudden has been having crime going on for the last 3 days back to back, we gonna be like, what the heck is going on out there? You know? Because it's because it's not normal. It's not normal in the first place. There should be no criminal activity at all. So people probably feel like, oh well, what you got to say about the National Guards coming out there? Well, I feel like, what Chicago needs is a real organization, a real group of people that's gonna tag along with the police and really do their job. We don't need a military that's trained to shoot and kill. We don't need the National Guards out here that's trained to shoot and kill, you know, that's going along with President Trump's orders, which is he just wants to abuse his power. Okay, this is my thing. Why you gotta go into the hood, the urban communities, if that's the case? Why you can't clean up crime for real, all across the city of Chicago? All across. Not just in these specific communities where there's black people. Because it's not only just black people that commit crimes. Let's be honest with you. Like, that's just racist. Real talk. But we don't need that, we need people that's willing to help, that's really gonna help. But see, this is my thing right here. Let's pause right there. Cause this is my thing. Why isn't that an option? Why isn't have y'all sat and really questioned that? Okay, we get it. Trump, he wanted to send the National Guards here. I understand, why the mayor and the governor doesn't want the National Guards here, because they're trained to do something totally different. And they're trained to kill. So we get it. And evidently, they they don't have great intentions. So, there we go. Right? We understand it. But why? Why didn't they make another option? Why didn't the governor and the mayor of Chicago say, you know what? We don't need the National Guards because we actually just came up with a plan to combat gun violence and violence in our communities across the city of Chicago. So we're going to do it this way. This is how, and we're going to start on this day, and hopefully we have, you know, cleaned up as much crime as we needed to clean up by, let's just say, December. I'm just saying. But overall, why wasn't it another option put in place if you don't want the National Guards here? Why wasn't there another option? You got to make it make sense, because it's just that they don't want the National Guards here for the reason, blah, blah, blah. Everybody know the reason, but there is no other option behind it. It's just that. And so basically what they're saying is, yeah, we don't want the National Guards here. We don't need nobody to clean up the crime because we already got CPD doing it. No, CPD is not doing shit. That's number one. CPD ain't doing their damn jobs. That's the problem. So evidently, you know that there's going to continue to be crime, right? So basically, they're trying to normalize crime. That's my thing. There's no other option. Nothing. They're lying. CPD is not doing a great job. Because if they were, I can almost guarantee you it would not be no crime here. It would not be No crime. You can probably call Chicago the new suburb. Real talk. They didn't offer anything else behind it. It's just we don't want the National Guards here. This is our reasoning for not wanting the National Guards here. Nobody agreed to this. Blah 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 blah. We're gonna continue to have the crime rate high. We already know the chaos it'll cause. We already blah 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 blah. I mean, it's my thing, bro. There's chaos in Chicago as it is because there's crime. There's chaos in Chicago as it is, not only because it's crime, but it's because the people and what you allow them to get away with, what you allow them to do. And that's the reason why it's crime. Because y'all are doing nothing about it. That's the reason why it's crime. Because y'all glorify crime. Because obviously it's about depopulation. Depopulation. But let me be quiet because I'm probably a conspiracy theorist. I might be a conspiracy theorist. I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, I'm talking about literally a city that I've been born and raised in, lived in majority of my life. I've lived in other states. And guess what? They had no crime. So it's not normal. What's up? Uh Gaming. I'm gonna just say gaming because I don't even know how to pronounce your first name. But I've been to other I've been to other states and there was no crime. I've been to West Virginia. I've been to, and I'm talking about nice parts. I'm just gonna tell you, maybe they do got hoods and stuff in these other states that I've been to, of course, right? That's supposed to be so called normal. They have hoods and they have crime, but that's not normal. That's the thing. What Chicago needs is real leadership, real talk. What Chicago needs is politicians to do their job and to not play around and to not make this about money and to do the right thing. That's what Chicago needs. We need organizations put together, that can really help combat the crime, that can really help stop the crime, not slow down the crime, stop it. Real talk. That's what Chicago needs. Chicago needs people to wake up out of the deep sleep that they have been in their whole entire lives. Chicago really needs great. You know what? I feel like the city of Chicago, you know what Chicago needs? Chicago needs to come up with an idea to fund a citywide uh I'm trying to get it together. They need to come up cuz they already got the funds. Come on now. Chicago got the money. They taking from us all the time. They making taxes go up. They making things extremely expensive. Like they making us pay for everything. So y'all got the money. Don't give me that bullshit. So this my thing. I have an idea to help Chicago. What Chicago needs is something put in place for the whole entire city of Chicago. I don't care what side of town you live on, but they need it for parenting. because the parenting skills have gone completely downhill. I mean, it is to the point where parents don't care about their kids. This is exactly why so much crime going on, because it starts in the home. Parents are not parenting. They don't give a damn anymore. And they need something put in place to where it can make them give a damn. And that's a shame. And that's a shame that it got to be like that. I know a lot of people feel like, oh, well, what about the programs and stuff like that? Well, I mean, they did take away the programs that we did have in place for the children, for the youth. But at the same time, you got to ask yourself, how is that really helping? You know, I'm going to be honest with you. We live around so many different community centers and parks, but yet and still, there's crime. You want to know why? Because that shit ain't helping no more. They like what they see on the internet. They're not fascinated by parks anymore or community centers and basketball and volleyball, and they don't want to do stuff like that no more. These kids want to be on the internet. They want to be savages. It's a little too late for the programs. It's time to see. The thing is, I feel like if there's a teenagers out here committing crimes, I feel like these teenagers need to be charged correctly, really charged, spend some time where they need to spend. I don't know. Or maybe just as simple as make the parents do the work. Put the parents in some sort of programs with their kids. Yeah, matter of fact, let's do that. Put the parent make it if these children get arrested for committing a crime, once you bring them to the station, you get all of their information, write their parents' name down, and call the parent up there and give them a mandatory paper that they have to complete a course for 6 months with their child, no matter the age. The child committed a crime. So now you got to complete a program for 6 months because your child keeps committing the crimes. Your child keeps getting. So maybe the city of Chicago needs stuff like that. Make these parents be parents because that's the problem. The parenting ain't there. And this is exactly why it's a lot of crime going on. Make them complete some hard programs. I guarantee you that. And then I feel like they should also set up like transitional housing as well with these programs. I feel like, you know, allow them to stay in a transitional housing program with their child for 6 months. Complete the program for 6 months. You know, keep tabs on them. Get them bus passes or Ubers and Lyfts to wherever they have to go. But I feel like this will help, you know, combat the issue. I really do. Because it will make parenting better. It will make parents be parents. The fact that the parents get to get away and their teenager is out here committing crimes and stuff like that. And they're having more children and raising them children up to do the same thing. I mean, the parents got to be held accountable at some point too. That's just how I feel. And I keep saying that because it's the parenting. We can't even blame these kids and these teenagers. They are being parented the wrong way. They being raised up the wrong way. Okay. It's a shame. It's a crying shame. that people is okay with this. I guess I need to shut up though because, you know, and see that's another thing. Just because you don't agree with what someone is saying, you know, it shouldn't be shut up because majority of the time it be the truth. It's the truth, and a lot of y'all just wanna cover y'all ears because y'all don't want to hear it. The truth is too plain. It's too loud for you. It's too much. Just as simple as saying crime is not normal. That's too much. The truth do have them afraid, and people don't like to be afraid. So, they hate the truth. If the truth was a person, you will fight it. If the truth was a person, you will fight it. You will harm it because you hate it. But unfortunately, it just happens to be me. It's trying to tell you the truth. So the only way for you to fight it is for you to cover your ears, cover your eyes. You don't want to see it. You don't want to hear it. That's the times that we live in. It's 2025. And guess what? It's not normal. It's not normal. Nobody should be afraid of the truth. Nobody should be afraid of something that they see in front of them all the damn time, but they choose to ignore it. No one should be afraid of that, you know. It's sad, man. It's crazy how we are seeing society just every time something else trending happens across the internet and it gets out across the whole world. Now everybody knows about it. You see society shift again. It's like a shift in the atmosphere, a constant shift in the atmosphere, and unfortunately it gets darker. Cause if you ask me, it ain't getting better. It just seems like people are becoming more and more brainwashed by the moment. They're not even realizing that this is all about money, elections. This is about money, votes, and consistent division. Because really, that's all they want to do is they want to create division amongst the people. You got people that believe this, and you got people that believe that. You got people that are all for this party and people that are all for the next party. Everything is just division. It's just division. And that's all they want to create. It's a division. They tried the race war. At this point we have to come to the realization that this is just plain and simple good versus evil. That's all it is. And I just wish, you know, people would just wake up. Normalizing crime. That's not good. That's actually bad. The fact that people are in agreement, that the crime rate is down. Yeah, well, it's the fact that it's crime. It's crime. In Chicago is I'm gonna be honest with y'all. The real criminals, they have not been arrested. They have not been charged. They are actually roaming this earth every day. They have big homes, nice cars. Their children attend amazing schools. You know, um, they some of them do have a criminal record, but it's still glorified and it still goes unnoticed. Um, One of those criminals, I'm not sure if y'all know, but His name is Donald Trump. He has 34 felonies. Yeah. And he's the biggest criminal there is. Okay. The next criminals on the list are the politicians here in Chicago and also the governor of Illinois. I'm not bullshitting you. I'm dead serious. These are real criminals. Also, you have the thugs that are, you know, they sitting in their vehicles all the time, you know. They get up, they put badges on in the morning and a gun on their waistband. Um, and they say that they're trying to serve and protect the communities. That is the biggest gang there is in the city of Chicago. CPD. Those are the real criminals, guys. All of them. Also, you have a lot more thugs, but they're just a part of the non-for-profit organizations. They commit crimes all the time, especially when they withhold federal funds. Those are actually the real criminals. You know, but that's just normalized. It's perfectly normal. It's okay for them to do the things that they do. It's okay for them to commit crimes. It's okay for them to rob the people. These jobs and stuff that y'all work at, those are the real criminals. You work for them. It is perfectly normal and it's legal for them to just steal your money off of your check, your hard earned money. The real criminals, IRS, they stealing from us every year, bro. They stealing all of our money. Those are the real criminals. These organizations, these judges, these court systems, these are definitely the real criminals, the top criminals amongst us. But yet and still, it goes unnoticed. It's ignored every day. They're recognized as good people because of the policies that they decide that they want to put in place for their city or for their state. They're recognized as amazing, great people. They're not recognized as criminals, though, even though they do criminal things. It is just perfectly normal for them to do that, you know? And they live amongst us. And we normalize they commit crimes, bro, on the job, and then they go and report all of the crimes that they've committed on the job to their boss, who's also committing the crimes, who's making it perfectly normal and okay for them to also commit the crime. So you have a whole group of people that's engaged in this criminal activity. And it is legal. It is perfectly fine. It's perfectly normal for them to do the things that they do. Because they're not getting caught. They're not getting arrested. They're not getting charged. They don't have to live with their crimes on their background. But meanwhile, we got black folks that committed a crime and they got a misdemeanor for having an argument or a confrontation with the police officer. But that's my thing. Cause free speech, right? Damn. That don't even exist. It's free speech. You should be able to say whatever the hell it is that you want to say and get whatever it is off your chest. But you're charged as a black person with resisting arrest. And now you have a misdemeanor on your fucking record. And you can't even get a job at Burger King flipping burgers. You're considered a criminal because you got into an altercation with the police officer, a verbal altercation. And you should not be doing things like that because that is criminal. No matter what your story is, we don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear your story. We don't want to hear what led up to those charges on your paper. On your background. Even though there was an incident that happened 10 years ago and you have not had any recent you have not been in any recent police trouble, and you had something on your background 10 years ago, They still use against you. You're still considered a criminal in their eyes. You can't even get a job at McDonald's. You can't get a job at these fast food restaurants, at a grocery store bagging groceries. But you got criminals that's in office that does criminal things every day. And it's perfectly normal. It's supposed to be normalized. There's nothing that can be done about that. You want to know why? Because when you report it, those too are the biggest criminals as well. When you go to the appeals courts, those are the biggest criminals too. And let's not talk about the Supreme Courts. The biggest criminals are the politicians that live amongst us. But yet and still, you got everybody believing in elections. They're believing that their vote counts, their vote matters. Yet and still, you got everybody really believing that this is a great politician. Look at what he's doing for the city. What? Because I don't even remember the last time we have had a great politician. And to my understanding, the last time that there was a good mayor in the city of Chicago, it was well before my time. And we talking Harold Washington. I hear a lot of black people saying Harold Washington was a great mayor, but that was before my time. I remember when we had Lori Lightfoot, Rahm Emanuel, um, geez, I forgot the one before. I forgot his name. It's gonna come back to me, but the one before Rahm Emanuel, uh, Rob Blagojevich or whatever. um, you know, there was another one, but it's like they all were just back to back bad. They all were bad. They wasn't doing nothing for this city. These politicians, they get in office and they do things that they know that can benefit them, their pockets, and their family, and also fund the situation at the same time. You know, they all work together behind closed doors. You got to think about the court system. This is all a stage play. Everything that it is literally a stage play. The only thing that's not a joke is your life. Your life does matter. And them doing the right thing also does matter. But unfortunately, they're doing the wrong thing and they're playing a game with us. And people need to understand, wake up, open up their eyes, and see that that's the problem. Nobody sees it. It's a game that they're playing, that they have been playing for a very long time. And y'all don't think this was all of this was conjured up. All of it. It's all a game. It's just about votes, the election, and money. And Chicago is getting worldwide recognition right now. Now everybody loves Chicago. Next thing you know, guess what? Chicago is going to get rich. You want to know why? Because a lot of people are going to start coming back here to tour Chicago. They're going to want to make this their trip. Oh, I feel for the Chicagoans. You know what? How about this? We just plan a flight to Chicago and we're going to go stay inside of our high rise, and we're going to make sure that we take the kiddos here and take them for dinner, completely ignoring the fact that it is crime here, bro. I'm telling y'all. You know what? I can't even recall what year that was, but they did this a long time ago. Yep. You said they should have made common sense illegal because people hate that. Yeah. You know what? People, they don't even realize that they did this a long time ago. I can't even remember what year that was. But Chicago had ended up getting a lot of worldwide attention at one point. Matter of fact, I don't think this was that long ago. It was a few years ago. And I forgot what the situation was, but everybody just kept talking about Chicago. Next thing you know, what happened? People start booking flights here, you know, taking pictures and going on trips. And I'm talking about, man, the city was making a lot of money. That's all it's about. They getting all this money because people, they are growing to love Chicago. And now everybody has such a heart for Chicago. But y'all was just the same people that said y'all wouldn't even book a flight here. Y'all was the same people that said that if even though your relatives stay here, you ain't never coming to visit. Y'all was the same people that was saying that. What happened? Follow the leader. What happened? Y'all don't believe Chicago is. Y'all don't believe there's criminal activity here anymore? Yes. Give me a second, okay? Um, y'all know damn well Chicago is not a safe zone. It's not. Let's stop making it seem like it's normal, bro. It's not. People are here. They have lost their rabbit ass minds. We live amongst zombie bots. Nobody is woke. Nobody wants to wake up because they feel like waking up, everything is going to be a conspiracy theorist. And they don't want to be labeled as a conspiracy theorist. They feel like that is just such a horrible name. Why does anybody else's opinion matter? Like, what their negative opinions about you, why do you make that matter so much? As a grown adult, why do you make why do you and then y'all be the main ones, I don't care what nobody think about me. Well, evidently you care. Because you can't even think for yourself. You can't even have your own opinion. You gotta live off of somebody else's. You don't want to change, even though you know the truth, because you feel like they're going to call you a conspiracy theorist. You feel like people will believe that you're crazy. You feel like your family won't accept you no more. You feel like your friends will turn their backs on you just because you decide to be different, just because you decide to align with the truth. A lot of y'all don't want to change for that reason. And I'm here to tell you today, don't worry about how anybody else feels about you because they're not living your life. You are. And if your life matters so much, then don't live your life based off of how somebody else feel about you. Because they gonna feel the way that they feel at the end of the day. You gotta understand they live in their life the way that they want to live their lives. So you should do the same. And stop being a follower. Be a leader. The issue is people don't lead anymore. Y'all agree with whatever y'all hear, whatever y'all see, and you don't think for yourself, you know? Now, I'm not saying that's the case for everybody. But hell, if you want to feel like it's like that and I'm saying it that way, then hey, you know, feel how you feel. People talk a lot of stuff about me, bro. They feel a lot of different ways about me, but I don't care. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, I'm the one that has to live my life. I'm the one that has to go through the things that I go through so I can get through them. They're not getting through the things that I go through. They're not, you know, contributing to my problems. They're not, the people that I can really call on and rely on in a time of need and a time of help. And they're not. You know who's there, who's solving all of my problems when I need them? God, the Most High God. You know who's been in my life since day one and who's always been there, who will never leave my side? God. No matter what, God will always be there. Even in the worst situations in your life, God will always be there. People just feel like, just because something bad happened to you, now it's like God don't exist anymore. He's still there. Even in tragedies, he's still there. Even in losses that you got to take. You lose your job. You lose your car. You lose your home. You lose out on some money. You lose your family. You lose everything you ever had. He's still there. So, what do we care about what somebody else got to say about us? What do we care? Exactly. Be yourself. Do it for yourself because your life matters. Make sure y'all get the likes up on this live stream. That's why it's like, why do everybody want to agree? Why does everybody want to agree that all of a sudden Chicago's crime rate is low? There is no crime. If anything, take it from me. I live here. I see it go on all the time. There is crime. The crime is not going down. The crime is not being taken care of. Just literally last night, there was a shooting. Was it last night or the night before last? There was a shooting. 7 people got shot, right? Literally a block over from the CPD headquarters. How is crime being taken care of? And who knows? It can all be, you know, a stage play still, all for uh more recognition. I mean, it could be a lot. It could be a lot behind that. It could be an actual criminal that actually did the shooting. But that's the thing. It's not normal. Crime is not normal. And, while we sitting up here talking about the crime rate went down, y'all, I'm telling you, it's been shootings, and they would call it mass shootings. It's been mass shootings happening in the city of Chicago for the last couple months, but it's not getting talked about. Y'all forgot about the Mellow Bucks situation. Come on now. Meanwhile, y'all up here talking about some. Oh, by the way, guess what? I don't know an update on this, but the last I checked, there was 5 people killed, 35 people shot over the Labor Day weekend. But crime is down in the city of Chicago. I hear switches going off in the middle of the night from a distance. I hear gunshots ringing out. I can hear people yelling, arguing. I can, hear police sirens. All like, but let everybody else tell it. This is just the city. This is how it is. It's not normal. Crime should not be normalized in no city. You know, Tinley Park is the city. Tinley Park is the city. And all of these other suburban communities are cities, right? So why don't they have violence like Chicago does? Why isn't it bodies dropping on the daily in their cities? Why does it have to be normalized in Chicago? Oh, because there's so many urban communities. It's a lot of black people, you know. Now, don't get me wrong. We do know that our own kind can be problematic. We do know that, but it starts in the home. It starts in the home. That's why I said they need to have something mandatory put in place for parenting, because people parenting uh skills have gone completely off the map. Like, nobody parents anymore. These kids be out here wilding. They don't give a damn. They will shoot and kill. You want to know why? Because these kids don't care. They don't feel like they have anything to live for anyway. Their parents is at home treating them like straight shit. You know, they hate school, all of that. So they take it to the streets. Then they start making drill music. The parenting. It is the parenting. We supposed to train our children up. We supposed to raise our children. Our children are supposed to look to us for guidance. And when they don't have that, they're going to the streets. Not to justify the fact that, street being in the streets and committing crimes is perfectly fine, because it's not. That's why I said it's the parents' fault. It is the parents. I don't care what nobody say. It's the parents. These kids wouldn't be out here acting the way that they is if it wasn't for the parents. And I do want to say this: you do have great parents out there, people that have great parenting skills, but it's not their fault that their children chose the wrong road. We do have that. Trust me. Trust me. So I'm not coming at those type of parents, but I'm coming out at the parents that's lazy as hell. They don't care about anything that their children do. They don't care about their children's whereabouts. They don't care, you know what I'm saying? They make their kid walk to school every day by themselves. They don't even call and check on them. They don't care. I'm talking about the parents that just don't care. Those are the ones. And they need to put together a citywide project to where it can help the communities, because it be a mandatory thing for parents to be a part of, no matter what. It got to be mandatory. Why the heck? Okay, so look, don't bash that. I mean, you can feel how you feel about my opinion, but you got to think about something. If they didn't put together something that is funded by the state, right? Because it ain't the city, it's the state. Because when you receiving food stamps and medical and all of that stuff from the government, it is the state. It's not a city thing. So this my thing, right? If they got programs in place where you go to job training programs and you gotta go at I think it's like 3 to 5 times a week or something like that, or once a week, I don't know. You got to go to this job training program, and you got to make sure that you're there. You there. Ain't nothing else matters. You're there, and you have to complete, I think it's 90 days you got to complete of the job training program, so that you can be able to consistently receive your food stamps. If Do you not know how many people was actually attending those programs, and they're still attending those programs right now as we speak? Do you not know how it's not an issue for them to get to these programs, because they make it their business, because their food stamps matters. Okay? So why the hell is it that your child's life don't matter? So that's why I feel like they need to get together and put that in place for parents, because I feel like, on some real stuff, I really feel like it would help the parenting. It will make these communities a lot better. It will clean up the crime, because it's not just going to be for the parents either. It's going to be mandatory that their child is there as well. I would say maybe put a boot camp in place for teens in the city of Chicago. Put a boot camp in place, a mandatory boot camp. Put a for the children, stuff like that. I don't want anybody to be harmed either. I don't. And while they're doing and completing their boot camp or whatnot, then they can, you know, and this boot camp, it doesn't really necessarily have to be anything harsh on them. You know, I'm saying like a program for them to go to, instead of going to school, go to this program. It's a boot camp. They have to complete their work. They gotta, stuff like that. They gotta, participate in the activities that goes on there, stuff like that. Instead of them being in school, if you want to clean up some crime, put stuff in order for these teenagers, for these children, and most importantly, for these young adults too, the ones that's in their 20s. Put stuff in order for them, mandatory things, if you want them to stay out of trouble. But if you feel like they just too far gone and they just keep committing crimes, and lock them up. Lock them up. But also make it to where the parents have to complete courses while their children or teens are in these boot camp programs. Real talk. And it has to be mandatory. It has to be. Because, come on now, make it make sense. If y'all can make it mandatory for them to go to these programs to keep getting their food stamps, and they really doing it, then trust and believe you can make these programs so that they can attend these programs too. Like, and then I feel like it would be even better if you say, hey, if you want to keep receiving your food stamps for this, you want to keep receiving your housing or whatever, then you got to stay in these programs and complete these programs. And your child has to be engaged as well. Like, that's what Chicago needs. Chicago needs other options. If you don't want the National Guards here, and we already know why you don't want them here, we know. Okay, then there should be other options, because Chicago needs help. We do need help. It is way too much crime. It is way too many killings. It's way too many gang wars going on here. Way too many people finding their ops and shooting and gunning down innocent children in the midst of it, or innocent citizens in the midst of their gang beef. It's way too much of that going on here. And it's not normal, and it shouldn't be normal. Yes, Chicago do need help. But we don't need people that's gonna come out here and corrupt the city more. So I can't understand. That is the only piece that I can understand why the governor and the mayor would like to resist. Um, if they have good intent to actually clean up the city, help clean up the city, and get rid of the criminals and stuff like that, even though the real criminals are the ones that's defending the citizens of Chicago. Um, but if when we speak in terms of the criminals that they lock up and stuff, you know, just lock them up. You know, lock them up. Yeah. My thing is, it's real criminals online as well, behind social media accounts that are affiliated with gangs, um that brag about how many bodies they dropped and how they still looking for their ops. You know, they incriminating themselves online. They're Chicago citizens as well. They incriminating themselves online. They talking about how many people they didn't kill. These is drill rappers as well. And it's like, why not lock them up? You have all the evidence that you need. It is there. It is right there. They telling you exactly who they killed. They telling you the ops that they looking for. So when they ops turn up missing or dead, evidently it was them that did it, because they already said what they was gonna do. But they not out here. They're not getting rid of those issues. That's the problem. This is why crime will continue to rise in the city of Chicago if it don't get taken care of. Because these guys that do this drill music, these females that do this drill music, is talking about they ops, and how when they find them, they gonna kill them. They incriminating themselves. They're telling y'all exactly what they're gonna do. But they the same ones that be like, I ain't doing no snitching. Well, you snitching on yourself? You sure just told it all. Everybody knows what you're capable of, and everybody knows what you have done, bro. So it's like, but this is my thing too. The problem ain't getting handled. That's the problem, and it's not getting handled. You know what was happening? CPD is sitting back and watching and eating a popcorn. Let me tell y'all something. I remember one time I was in a police station and they sitting there on their phones watching one of these drill rappers Facebook lives, and they was just laughing and talking about the beef. These CPD officers, they love this rap beef that's going on. You think they want to get rid of the problem? No, they don't want to. They love seeing it. So you can't tell me that you don't have a passion for watching blood be spilled in the streets of Chicago. You got to be a very sick individual to like that. Crime is glorified here in the city of Chicago as well. That's the thing. The mayor don't even realize something. He got blood on his hands every day because the Chicago citizens' lives is in your hand. And when you're not, getting rid of the problem and combating the issue, you're making a problem for innocent children, innocent citizens, people that go to work, go to school, people that mind their business. You creating a problem. And it's obvious that you don't want to get rid of the problem. You want the problem to be ongoing because it is a cycle. Honestly, it's a cycle. And every time a new mayor gets in office, the biggest thing that they don't get rid of is the crime in Chicago. They never come up with some type of resource or some type of, thing that they can put together to get rid of this violence here. They never do. So explain to me, how is it that we have had a good governor? How is it that we have had a good mayor? And now that I think about it, the governor of Illinois was Rod Blagojevich. You know, straight criminal, straight criminal. All of them are criminals, bro. All of them. They stealing money. They stealing funds. They withholding funds. But they want to keep funding the police, and the police ain't doing shit. They're not doing nothing. Y'all giving them new vehicles and installing new technology inside the vehicles and funding all the money to these police departments that's still raggedy, by the way. So where is the money really going? Where is the money really going? Y'all still funding the police. I mean, obviously it's going in their pockets, going in their checking accounts, and they come to work with low motivation, and they hate their jobs, but they love the money, and they hate what they do. They hate the people. They have no love. They don't care, and they're still getting paid to do nothing. The only thing that they love about their job is they get to have a badge and a gun and abuse their power whenever the hell they feel like it. What are they doing? What is CPD doing? Come on now. Y'all not giving back to the city. Y'all not really helping us here. Y'all not helping us. This city is a danger zone. It's and each and every time these mayors and governors are selected to be in office, because I believe that they're selected, not elected. Because if that was the case, then why is these elected officials, all of them are dirty, all of them are grimy? And let me tell y'all something. Just as well as in a court system behind closed doors, the judges, the attorneys, the state's attorneys, and court reporters, all of them, they eat lunch together in the judges' chambers. They sit down together at a round table. Like, this is, bro, I'm telling you, man, they all know each other. Real talk. You don't think these politicians sit down and have dinner together? They flying across the states in nice private jets and stuff like that, going to go sit down and have dinner together and golf with one another. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. And every time I look at this mayor of Chicago, I look at it and I said, wow, you know, I'm not trying to say, uh, I'm not trying to say that you can't look nice, bro, but nice Rolex. And I look at him and I say, man, what are you really doing for this city? Are you just here just to have a title? There is nothing here. There is nothing here put in place for Chicago citizens. Real talk. And honestly, I want to say this too. Even when they do put programs in place and they finally do uh make it to where uh the citizens are able to go to these programs and have fun, and I'm talking about, swimming and stuff like that for the young children in these urban communities. Even when they do finally put that in place, I'm not too sure it can help because a lot of Chicago is too far gone. People are too far gone. And I don't know what can help, but I know what can help: good leadership and great parenting. Otherwise, we're going to continue to live in a dump. But I wasn't going to stay too long. You know, I want to say shout out to my hubby. He was the only one in the live stream that was interacting. And, hell, whoever views this, whoever views this video, I mean this live stream, I hope you get where I'm going. But the whole principle is this is about money. It's all about the Benjamins. And nobody on either side is trying to protect the citizens of Chicago. If y'all cared about crime so much, because, okay, like I said, we know that the mayor and the governor, of Illinois, the mayor of Chicago, governor of Illinois, we know the reason why they don't want the military out here, the National Guards out here. We know that it's a potential cause for martial law. We understand that, but why isn't why is it that there was no other options? If you don't want them here, why is there no other options to protect the citizens away from crime? Like, come on now. They don't want us protected for real. Then you got to look at the Trump administration and how, you know, he's only doing this because he wants to expose his racism. That's all it is. It's just a race thing. It's about race. So we're not getting help on either side. We just in a tug of war. That's all it is. We are just Chicago citizens in a tug of war with a system. They got to be the craziest thing to be in the midst of a battle between your governor and your president, and they're clashing. Y'all ain't even focusing in on that. Y'all ain't focusing in on that. That can cause immediate chaos. Do you not know how much chaos that can cause? We shouldn't even have to be dealing with this right now. And honestly, we wouldn't have to deal with it either if the governor of Illinois wasn't so busy sitting on his ass going back and forth with this damn president. Real talk. You trying to find the best comebacks for him and his administration. You and the mayor. Meanwhile, we as the citizens of Chicago are watching this battle with them back and forth across the internet, on social media and in the news media and on Twitter, all of that. when what they should really be doing is helping us right now, y'all. If they so worried about the crime, then there should be someone to come through and help clean up the crime and make this drill music stop. And make these ninjas sit their asses down and stop looking for the ops. And make these parents do their job and raise their children up. We need help with that. Instead of watching y'all go back and forth like little children. Because none of this is helping us right now. That's how we got to look at this. At the end of the day, what is going to help Chicago citizens be, what is going to help us live at peace, not have to be concerned about our safety, not have to duck and dodge bullets inside of our own homes, not have to worry about being robbed and stuff. Like, even though we be robbed when we go to grocery stores and convenience stores and gas stations, they robbing us blind, taking everything. But I'm just saying, like, what is it that can help us? Because see, the thing is, watching y'all go back and forth, it ain't helping. It's a shame. It's a shame that people not paying attention to that. And that is the biggest thing. The National Guards coming here, and how is that really going to help? How? Especially if they're under Trump's orders, and you know, Trump doesn't have good intentions. He don't care about SHIT. He don't care. If Trump wanted to combat violence in the city of Chicago, he would have done it when he was first elected in office. Selected, my bad. He would have been done it a long time ago. You knew Chicago had a problem, bro. You got a whole building downtown, the Trump Tower. You knew Chicago had an issue. This is nothing new under the sun. Everybody knows that Chicago, you know, is the messed up city. One thing I'm gonna tell y'all, right? When y'all looking at these politicians, at this government, at this system, when they keep talking about Chicago, y'all, I need y'all to pay attention to something. Pay attention to the fact that there is no other option to combat the problem, which is crime here. There is no other option. When there is no other option, you gotta sit and ask yourself, okay, so you want crime to continue to happen? Because your officers obviously not doing their job. They're actually enjoying the crime. You know? They're enjoying it. Pay attention to that. Because if there was another option, we as Chicago citizens would have something great to look forward to. We would say, oh, yeah, we agree. We don't need y'all National Guards. They actually have someone that's going to start helping uh do a crime sweep across the city. You know, pay attention to that. Also, pay attention to how they're just going back and forth, and they want y'all to be divided amongst each other because they want y'all to be on one of their sides. If the mayor continues to keep doing the wrong things that he's doing, and the governor of Illinois, they will get elected again because people love the wrong. They don't love the right. So they will get elected again and selected. Um, Trump will too. And that's just the way that it is. That's just the way that it is. And in everybody else's eyes, and it shouldn't be like that, and it shouldn't be normal, and it shouldn't be normalized. And what Chicago needs is real help, real assistance from people that really want to get rid of the problems. But the more that y'all continue to ignore the fact that it is drill music that's going on here, and that helps with the crime rate going up because these ninjas ain't doing nothing but be influenced by drill music to go shoot and gun down they ops and stuff like that. You know, they got kids as well, and they're not raising their children right either. They raising their children to be exactly like how they are. So the more that y'all continue to ignore that issue that's here in this city, the more that we're gonna continue to have a problem. Nevertheless, keep y'all head up, pay attention to what these people saying, and we gonna definitely keep these topics going about Chicago, because this is just getting out of control. Also, I'm gonna start dropping real jewels at the same time and not just only talking about Chicago either. Nevertheless, get them likes up, make sure y'all subscribe, and I'm out.